Bissett from Accounting Influencers. We are the official broadcast partners of Martin. What is the biggest event in the world of its kind?
It really is, and it's bigger this year, 20% bigger. We're in year 10 or 11 or wherever we're up to, but the show out here is the biggest it has ever been, and that says an awful lot about what's going on out there right now.
Well, we're going to talk a lot. The doors are opening any second now. There'll probably be an announcement. We're expecting thousands of people. Why is this event so big, Martin? What's special about it?
It's relationships. Accountex is a brand, and the organisers behind it have built relationships very, very carefully with the vendors, with the expert guru community, and with the accounting community to create an experience rather than a show. There's no shortage of expos. You can always go to an expo, but can you have an experience? And whether it is the actual show floor, whether it is the after parties, the pre-parties, the post-parties, the something or others, there's something going on throughout. So you don't come down here, come to a show for an hour and go home again. It's a 2-day immersive. Yeah. And as a result of that, people want to come back because this is where they can see it. There's our announcement. It's time to open the show. Shutters are going up, guys. Here we go.
And people have probably been camped like Buckingham Palace out there for days waiting to come in.
I think there was that. You know what? There actually was a queue. When I came in here, there was a queue there waiting. So I think that's the biggest fanboys and girls are going to get the first dibs on who's out here.
Well, you've been coming to this show a long time now, 10, 12 years. Yeah. Give us a flavour of how much it's evolved over that time.
It's almost unrecognisable. Since Diversified have taken over it, it's gone through a huge visual upgrade. It looks sharper, it looks smarter, it is thought through from a branding point of view, whereas previously, not to be in any way disparaging of previous owners of the show, it was an expo. You know, it was just put it all together and make it happen. This is so well thought through by Caroline Hobden and her team. And I think it's reflected in the visitor numbers that we're expecting over the next couple of days.
Well, what kind of visitors come to Accountex? Obviously, we've talked about the vendors. They're here in force because this is their playground, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Showcasing their wares. But who else comes?
Well, it is, as I understand it from the data breakdown, it is predominantly sole practitioners, those who don't have a huge amount of free time and need to see everything in one go. The downside of that, of course, is overwhelmed because they get so much information. It's like, where do I start? I'm limited for time, I'm limited for bandwidth. But then we have the mid-tier here as well. We might even have 1 or 2 spies and interlopers here. But most of all, I would say it is the bookkeeping and accounting community, sole practitioner size, who really are looking for that silver bullet.
Yeah, you mentioned the interlopers. There are competition out there for events like this. Accountex is a different brand though, isn't it?
Not to be too topical, Accountex remains the king of the accounting shows. It has been going, I believe, the longest. It has cultivated the audience the most. It has built a value proposition stronger than everybody else's, and it's a heck of a venue. Yeah. We're here at the Excel in London. It's a huge, huge venue. And I think it just stands head and shoulders above the other shows for those reasons and several others.
Now, you were here last night as the stands were getting set up. You've also had a look around this morning. Anything different, anything that's caught your eye about this year's exhibitors?
There's a few features, everybody, to come and see this time. Obviously, we're sat in a studio that looks a lot different than last year's studio. We thank the whole Accountex team at Diversified for giving us a wonderful position to broadcast from this year.
Well, we're in Dolly. This is actually a Silverstream caravan. You'll see some of the shots outside throughout our live streams over the next few days. But yeah, this is a dedicated podcast recording booth, and we're live on air for the 2 days. But that's just one of the things.
It's the on-air podcast studio. If you're here at the show, you will not be able to miss this. We also have the networking bus. There's a double-decker bus not far away from us across the hall here, which is a brand new feature. There is an authors area this year where various book signings are taking place. And again, that's new because I don't remember that ever being at Accountex before, where people's works were available as well in one place. So we've got that this year. I think the main stages are bigger. That much might be my imagination.
There's certainly more theatres.
There's more theatres. There's a bigger buzz. I have talked in years gone by, Rob, about the Accountex crescendo. Yeah. It's that point in the day, you never know when it's coming, but there's just this pop of noise when everything's happening at the same time. And it creates a real buzz around the arena. Everybody feels it. Everybody's like, okay, this is why I come here. So goodness knows what time that's going to happen today, but I think it's going to be bigger than last year's.
Yeah. Well, you talked about the authors. There is another contingent that come here because there's a huge education program.
Yes, there is.
So there's a lot of speakers, bloggers, podcasters, authors, coaches, consultants, trainers, gurus. mastermind organisers. They're all here, experts in all kinds of fields.
Yeah, I think this is why we regard Accountex as the who's who. This is why we say it's the busiest 2 days of the year. Because I'm not going to go as far as to say anybody who's anybody's here, because that might be leaving one or two important people out. But what I will say is that there is no place you can go if you're in the accounting profession where you can gain as much information, meet as many people, and do as many things in 2 days as you can right here.
Yeah. Now we're starting to open up. People are coming through. You've seen it in the background here.
Morning, everyone.
They're collecting their swag, and we're going to have a swag off tomorrow.
Oh, we are going to have a swag off. Yes, we are.
Zoe Lacey Cooper and Andy North from TaxCalc will be here, looking around the stands, grabbing the swag, and we'll do that live going out to you. What kind of conversations do you feel people will be having on their stands, Martin? What will people be asking them?
It's going to be an education question, because for an audience that is predominantly a sole practitioner or bookkeeper audience, then they are not aware of all of the names that are here. There's no way you can be in practice and be aware of 160 odd different technological solutions or third-party service providers. So this is, you mentioned education, it's education from a CPD point of view through the theatres, but at the stands it's, so what do you do? Sort of thing, because it's like, I've never heard of you. You might be huge, you might be enormous, you might have venture capital, private equity backing, but I don't know who you are. How do you change my practice? And I think a lot of people are going to be saying, what do you do and how do you help me? And some of the perhaps more opportunist delegates are going to say, what swag have you got? But it's interesting, as we're talking, there's people taking selfies of themselves outside the studio here. So next one we need to wave to make sure we're in it.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's overall the main question is going to be educate me.
Well, we're talking about vendors here. There is a vendor agenda. They invest a lot of money in this. Some of these stands are exorbitant and extravagant and very imaginative.
Oh yes.
What are their objectives over the next couple of days?
Really lead gen. I'd love to give you a far more in-depth answer than that. But in the COVID years, when this wasn't available, 2021, then you saw an awful lot of the names who are here today scrambling to try and find a lead gen source that was as strong as Accountex, because for the smaller vendors who are here today, 12 months of lead gen will be done and created over the next 2 days. Astonishing, which just goes to show how pivotal Accountex is to their sales forecasts for the year and their sales performance. For the bigger firms, so for the bigger vendors I should say, it's far more about brand awareness, about launching new products, about understanding what else. It's the what else question. You know us for our core offering, but what else do you provide? It's that they're going to be educating on. But I would say, if I was to generalize the entire show floor here, it's all about lead gen, because lead gen equals money.
Yeah. There's an element of collaboration as well. You and I know a lot of these vendors in the Accounting Influencers Roundtable, which is our community that serves people that serve the accounting profession. They sell to and through accountants. And they come here for lead gen, brand awareness, but also there's a collaborative conversation. Can we work together to serve the accounting profession?
Oh, very much so.
Because there is some overlap in products and services.
Very much so. I mean, a lot of vendors who come into the market don't know the history, the nuances, the buying behaviour, and the mindset of the accounting community.
Yeah.
And so the vendors themselves need to understand how to build relationships. And it's not obvious. Don't just come in and say, buy my stuff. Accountants are overwhelmed with sales offers. And then so people then go, okay, differentiation. I'll differentiate myself. Well, great, you can be different by being worse. That's not impressive. So there has to be a relationship. And the Accounting Influencers Roundtable is a great way to become far more credible, because you're far more educated about the market that you're selling to.
Yeah. Now, people will be watching this thinking, should I come? It's at the XL Arena in London, one of the biggest venues around. You can still make it, and there's lots to look forward to over the next couple of days. What are you most excited about seeing, Martin?
The buzz. I'm most excited about seeing new speakers. I'm part of, sadly, the old guard these days, and I was the new speaker here once. You know, who was it? Was it David Cameron that said, I was the future once? Well, I was the future once, but I'm not now. And I'm excited to see who's new.
The new generation.
The new generation of speakers, those who are far more tech savvy than my generation were, those who can envisage a new future for the way business owners are served by this community. And people have got new things to say. that was always my challenge when I was a speaker. It's like, what can I bring to the audience that they haven't already heard and understood? What's something not new but evolutionary? You know, and we're a step on from where we were previously. And that's something that I want to look for today. To declare my interest, I'll be introducing a new speaker this year, a gentleman called Mark Hugh, who's speaking tomorrow.
He's a bit different, isn't he, Martin? Tell us about Mark.
He's a bit different. Well, Mark is an ex-Premier League footballer who had many career setbacks, but had his sort of mindset on appearing in the Premier League, and he got there to his goal. And he understands that from a accounting perspective, mindset often constricts us and prevents us from achieving our full potential. So he's doing a piece on mindset, and he's got how to achieve a Premier League mindset from a Premier League football player who would know. And I love that, and so I think it's lovely that he's here. I think it's lovely that I get to concede the stage to him and watch from the wings, and brings, like I say, a new perspective, but from a Premier League level.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this show has seen this before.
And there is a new generation coming through as well on the vendor side. You and I know a lot of experienced people that are at the tops of many of these big companies,
Yep.
but there are new people coming through
There are.
that are the new experts and the new visionaries and the new sellers and vendors and fintech providers. Does that excite you?
It interests me more than excites me, because our new gen now never knew a time before the internet. You and I do. Okay.
Some of them never knew a time before Chat GPT and
Right,
AI.
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So their perspective is different.
Yeah.
Because they take things for granted that we might still be getting our heads around. And it's a norm for them. And I think they can be tremendously useful in serving. And serving is sort of the key theme here. I think everybody should be here to serve the business owner, the ultimate beneficiary, the SME. So I think the new generation have got new insights. They have a better grasp of technology, superior grasp of technology. They're going to be able to serve us as vendors, as experts, as business owners, as accountants.
Final question, Martin. If people haven't been here before, or thinking of coming, or just arriving and seeing this stream, what advice would you give to them of making the most out of their time here? Because you say it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah, you do see the archetypal Accountex attendee who's increasingly dragging their feet as their bag of swag gets heavier.
Eyes glazed over.
Yeah, so sort of, where's the coffee? You know, but I would ask anybody coming to the show to come with an objective.
Right.
To say, the show is successful for me if, you know, if I get one piece of information, if I learn about pricing, if I have found the answer to this issue in my practice, if I, just one, it's a singular objective. Even if it is as general as, I want to know what's going on, I want to familiarise myself with the bigger picture. Come away feeling that you didn't just traipse around a show floor, come away feeling I spent some time out of my office to get a wider perspective on a particular issue, and I got it, and that improves my practice, and that improves my service to my clients.
Yeah. Well, we are Accounting Influencers. We are at Stand 420 on the show over the next 2 days. Come and say hello to us. We're the official broadcast partners of Accountex 2023 London. We are doing loads of interviews over the next few days with the key speakers and some of the big vendors to talk about their stories and what's happening. So you'll be capturing the live buzz as we go through the event. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be coming back to you with live streams throughout the next 2 days. But for now, here are some more messages for you. Take a look at this.